Hey, what is up everybody? This is Caticus, and today I'm going to be doing a video review of the ASM Hydrasynth. This is a synthesizer that I've wanted for so long and I'm so excited to get, or I'm so excited to have, and I can't wait to do a video review of it. Of course, this will be a totally amateur review, not because I haven't made a lot of video reviews, but more so because I'm still a total amateur when it comes to synthesizers. I'll admittedly say I'm one of those people who has not taken enough time to read the manual. I never read the manual. I just get a synthesizer and start playing with it. So my understanding of synthesizers is limited to just playing with them and making sounds with them and even making my own patches. But one thing that I'm not very good at is like a mod matrix. I'm kind of sucky at that. So my video review will be limited to what it feels like to have the synth, what it feels like to use it, what it's like, what the synthesizer itself is like on the outside, the construction quality, and things like that. So, without further ado, let me flip the camera around and get us a video shot of the ASM Hydrasynth. Let's get started. See you in a second. Alright, here we are on the outside of the device, and I'll try not to get my fingers in the shot again. As you can see, there is this right here for playing notes and things like that. There are dials up here. I'll turn it on so we can see these things as I explain them. You've got an oscilloscope right here, which also tells you notes and patches and things like that. You've got these LCDs right here, which will tell you different information and what these knobs can twist. Before I get into all the features of it, let's talk about the construction. I was actually very surprised with how well this thing is constructed. And as you can see, I have the desktop version. I didn't get the keypad version because I just don't have enough space in my studio for another full keyboard. So I went for the desktop version and I'm not displeased with it whatsoever. Everything's solid. The dials and knobs all feel really good. They're very solid. They feel like actual metal and not plastic. The shell itself is metal with metal side brackets right here that you can take off to put it into a rack mount if you want. It actually comes with the brackets for that. I was actually surprised to find out just how shallow it is. You can see here it goes into the back there for the I/O. So you've got your MIDI in, out, and through. You've got your pedal expression pedal and sustain pedal. Your outputs for like left and right, and then your headphones right over here. You've got a USB jack right here, which is USB-B type. Your power input right here, and then your power switch right here. If you can see that very clearly, let's try to get a shot on that. There we go, power switch in right there. I was surprised by how thin this is right here. Like there's actual circuitry and stuff. It goes right back to down here, so it's kind of neat. Like you can feel where the board is in there. I mean, you can't feel it, but you can just imagine where the board is in there. And it's so tightly made. Like everything is really solid. Even though it's like thin right here, you can feel just how solid it is. The construction is fantastic. And there's nothing on the bottom of the device, obviously, but there's a view of the bottom just so you can get a view of it. So, all in all, the construction is just fantastic. There's a view of the metal sides that come with it. And they're like aluminum sides, and they're quite thick, so nothing bends. For this synthesizer, nothing bends. Not even pressing as hard as you can on the panel right here, nothing bends. It is super tightly done, very well made. There we go, get it in focus again. Very well made and such a pleasure to work with. I can't get over how well or like how solid the knobs are on this thing. I think because this is ASM's first usage of making a synthesizer under this brand, they wanted to make a very good impression. So the price of it is priced really well. I think I paid like $800 for this in China. Usually things are marked up in China, but I got it for about $800 American in China, which is a really good price. I gotta get my cat off of my keyboard. Get down, punk. And for what you get in a synthesizer, it is just fantastic. I can't believe the price of this thing, and not to mention how wonderful it sounds. Anyway, give me 1 second here. I'm going to get all my sound stuff set up, and then we'll have a listen to it and see what it sounds like. I won't be doing a line input into the phone to do the sound. I'll just be playing it through speakers. Hopefully it comes through all right. I'll keep the phone next to the speakers so that the sound is pretty pure. The reason I won't be doing line in is because the only device that I have is the Zoom H6, and it just seems to kill batteries within 10 minutes, which is not long enough for a video review. So I'll just be doing it you know, through the air. Anyway, see you guys in a second. Let me just pause this. Okay, I've got all the sound things turning on right now. Having a look on the outside of the device from here, you can see your routing right here, which is really wonderful for creating new patches. You've got your oscillator 1, 2, and 3. You've got your mutants right here, which I think are like mod matrix stuff. Then your additional mutants right here, and then your ring right here. You've got your mixer right here. When you press on any of these, it changes these context-sensitive menus right here. So if I press oscillator 1 right here, then these all change to show different things that I can change with the oscillator 1. And if I press mutant right here, then it gives me different things for what I can change with the mutant, and so on and so forth. Go to filter 1 right here, and it's things that I can change. I can change the filter type, the cutoff, the cat. Man, she's really rambunctious right now. So everything that you press on here changes what you can change on here. And so it's very intuitive when you're building a patch to be able to just choose which part of the patch you want to change, like that, and then make adjustments to it. It's very intuitive and it's very easy to do. So in some synthesizers, this would be buried under different menus. But in here, because you're just pressing each one, there's no menu diving per se, because everything you press is context sensitive on here. So you just press whichever one you want to adjust, and then choose it, like set it, select it, adjust it. It's so simple and so wonderful to use. I really like building patches on here. I haven't dug too deep into it, but I built about 3 patches on here, and I'm very happy with that. But that brings me to one thing I really must say about this synthesizer is that, man, they hired the right people to make presets for this. Now, I don't know about you, but I really like presets in a synthesizer. I know that some people think that presets are the worst thing in the world and they like to build all their own patches and so on and so forth, but personally, I like it when a synthesizer has at least a few presets that I can go in there, and sometimes I love the presets so much that I end up putting them into songs that I create. Well, I gotta say, this thing just comes loaded with wonderful presets. Whoever, I know they hired about 6 guys to do the presets for this synthesizer, maybe more, I don't know. But the presets in here are absolutely fantastic. Some of them are just mind-bogglingly good, and I'll show them to you in just a minute. But I'm really quite blown away by the presets, and like I said, we'll get into those in a second. Let me just get everything up and running. 1 second, I'm going to pause it again. All right, I've got things set up. Another thing I forgot to point out here is on the top here, you've actually got CV gates for your inputs and your outputs, which allows you some integration with, like, for example, Eurorack or whatever. It's kind of neat that you've got some modular integration right here. So yeah, I thought I'd mention that. You've got your arpeggiator right here with different different knobs to select different things. So whether it be up, down, order, like random and whatnot. You've got your octaves, your divisions, and your swing. So just a few knobs right there that you can adjust different presets or different settings for your arpeggiator. Down here you've got your filter controls. It doesn't seem very in-depth. You've got filter 1 and filter 2. But again, you can choose down here, filter 1, and select a whole bunch more settings for it. And filter 2 and select a whole bunch more settings for that. One of the other nice things about this synthesizer is that it's filtered per voice. So you're not, like, for example, with this guy right here, with the OB6, that's filters per oscillator, I think. I'm not exactly sure how it works. But I know that the filter, it gets, like, taken up by the next note. So if I play a note, then that note is using the filter. But if I play another note, then it basically dumps that voice out of the filter and starts playing the next one into the filter. This one here, the way it works is if I play a voice, it stays in that filter. And if I play another voice, if I play another note, then it plays that note, but it also leaves the other one still playing. So it doesn't just immediately dump the sound that's playing in order to play the next one. There's a lot of filters in here because it's filtered per voice. And I think there's 3 voices per oscillator. I mean, of course, it's an 8-voice polyphonic synthesizer, but I believe there's 3 voices per oscillator, something like that. I can't remember it exactly, but basically you're not going to run out of filter. You're not going to suddenly be finding that, like, the next note you're playing basically erases what was playing before it. It's got a lot of filter to go around. I'm having a really hard time saying this or putting it into English, but I hope you know what I'm saying here. Okay, we're gonna play a few notes on here and hear how it sounds. And I'm gonna the view from the camera is gonna suck during this because I'm gonna put the phone closer to the speaker so you get a nicer demonstration of the sound. Okay, so let me just get a decent enough view. It'll just be a crappy view, but you'll be able to hear it better. This is the first preset on here. Very nice preset. What is this preset called? It's called Sawpressive. Sawpressive GD. And man, it sounds GD wonderful, doesn't it? Let's try the next one. Very basic sounding synth string. You can't see this while I'm playing it, but this is kind of neat how these little thumb pads or these little pads are laid out, that the colors actually show you which notes sound really nice with each other, which is great for somebody like me who's not a trained pianist. I basically play by accident, everything by accident. I play by ear, so I don't know which note is which on the keyboard, but I can start playing melodies on a keyboard basically by how it sounds. And on here, it's kind of nice because it gives you a guideline. You don't have to follow it, but the colors correspond to the notes sounding good in line with each other. Yeah, it's kind of neat. And you can set the scale. You can choose different scales by pressing a button combination that I can't remember offhand. Holding Shift and pressing this, for example. That changed the scale, but it doesn't change the way that the layout looks at the moment. There's more to it, but I don't know all of it, how to do all of it offhand. But there's a lot you can do with this little thumb pad right here. And it is very intuitive, although I haven't really learned it. Another button I haven't really learned is the mod matrix button. If I press it, it changes all this stuff right here. So it changes, you can set your targets right here. Let me see here. Yeah, I haven't set all these, but you can basically press one button and then hold another and it'll modulate it. Or you can hold the LFO button. Where's the LFO button? There's down here. And link it to things by pressing them together, but I haven't figured all that stuff out. It's very intuitive, but I haven't figured it all out. But it's very cool the way that works. Let's hear a few more patches. Let me just go back to the patches here and see how things sound. Okay, this one's called Beautiful Basic. Let's see how this sounds. Yeah, and it's beautiful and it is basic. You can hear the effects in here. The this synthesizer comes with a few different effects. The two standout ones are the delay and the reverb. So if I click on the delay here, you can actually see what it does, and I can turn up the dry wet. And Turn up the amount of time. So you can hear that in there. You can do BPM sync if you're going in through MIDI, which I am, but I haven't really set up this like song or project on my MPC Live to do that. So you can do all sorts of different things with the delay, but you've also got a pre-effects right here. Pre-effects tells you what type it is right here, so I can go bypass, chorus, flanger, rotary, phaser, lo-fi, tremolo, EQ, compression, distortion, and that's it. That's the last one. So all those different pre-effects, and then you still have your delay and your reverb. So delay and reverb are basically your hardwired effects in there. Then you've got post effects right here, which is all of those aforementioned effects, and you basically got a new chain for them. So you've got two varied effects right here, and then two either delay or reverb right here. So you've got a lot of versatility when it comes to effects built into the synthesizer. So it's, like I said, for the price of this thing, it's a ridiculously good value. If you don't have a good effects pedal or whatever, the reverb on here alone sounds wonderful. If I can turn up the reverb here. What you're hearing there is actually distortion too, because I've got one of the post effects is set to distortion, so it's got a little bit on there. But yeah, lots of choice with your effects. Let's hear some Blade titles. I really like this patch. Very fat, very demanding sound. It sounds wonderful. So like I said, these are built-in presets and they sound really good. Moving on, we've got Chow's Arpeggiator. Let's turn on the arpeggiator here. Very sweet sound. I forgot to mention, and if you've heard anything about this synthesizer, or if you've been following it all, then you already know this. This thing has built-in aftertouch, and not just aftertouch, but polyphonic aftertouch. That means aftertouch per note played, up to 8 different notes played at the same time, and each one, depending on which like notes you press with your fingers, all 3 can have aftertouch at the same time, or one note can have aftertouch. It's very cool. It's a feature that I didn't really think I'd care much about when I heard about it, but when I actually played with it, I think it's actually kind of neat. I don't know how I'd put it into song, but I still think it's a kind of neat feature. So yeah, polyphonic aftertouch. Cool. Let's move on to the next patch. This one's called Doppler Bass. Probably more suited to lower octaves. That might be hard to hear on here. Let's try the next one. Let's just turn up the octave here. Very cool, very cool. Let's try one more and then I'll play it out here. Showing you here, that's according to the pressure that I put onto the pad. I know that the same thing happens with the keys, so of course it's polyphonic aftertouch on the keys if you've got the keyboard version as well, but even on this little broken down pad version, well, it's not broken down, but even on the pad version it still has the built-in polyphonic aftertouch, and it's pretty cool how hard you press on these pads is what actually happens according to the sound there. Perhaps not the most beautiful of playing, but it gives you an idea of what the synthesizer is capable of. And I say an idea because really what I've done today in this little video review is nothing compared to what the synthesizer can actually do. This thing is a friggin' powerhouse. It is so powerful. I mean, you wouldn't know it from the limited amount of knobs on the device, but it is so deep. There's so much you can do with this routing right here. And I can't state enough just how wonderful having this routing is, how wonderful it is being able to press on one thing and adjust it, pressing on the next thing, so your chain is all laid out here and it is so simple to work with. Let me get this thing in actual frame here. It is so wonderful to work with this chain right here, to be able to see everything as you go through it. Oscillator 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Your mutants, which honestly I don't understand the mutants at all yet. There's something I need to do with that to understand. Oh, I remember mutants. Mutants are, you can have it, because this is a wave-shaped synthesizer, you can have it so you can set up 1, 2, 3, 4, or up to 8 different wave shapes, and then you can have it mutate between them by selecting, like setting them to the LFO, for example. So the LFO can drag it from like the first wave shape that you choose to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth, all the way up to the 8th that you've chosen, and like scan through them, do like basically a wave scan going through them all in a single patch. That's kind of cool. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a pretty cool feature. So that's what the mutants do. And you've got 4 mutants, and then yeah, whatever. So yeah, how do I like the synthesizer? Personally, I'm kind of blown away by it. I have quite a few synthesizers, as you see my little like scan here. I have quite a few synthesizers, and I don't feel that most of my synthesizers are as versatile as this one. I feel it's a very versatile synthesizer. I feel that the value for money is absolutely ridiculous. Giving you an example here, I've got the OB6 right here, which I paid 3 times as much for, and I find that the OB6 has a sweet spot that sounds unlike any other synthesizer. It's absolutely fantastic sounding. However, get outside of that sweet spot and it really lacks the versatility that I would hope for in basically a what I paid for $3,000 synth. But this, on the other hand, maybe $2,500. But this, on the other hand, for being the price that I paid for it, it is far more versatile. Now, that could be just the difference between digital and analog, but I mean, I can only go from an amateur's point of view, and the versatility of the synth, the range of sound that it can put out is just fantastic. A similar synthesizer, I would say, is the Access Virus right here. However, I find the patches that come like put in here, I even updated them all. They all sound I don't know. I don't feel like whoever made the patches in here put as much love into the patches on here as they did on here. Now, that doesn't mean that I couldn't find or like create my own patches that are absolutely wonderful sounding. It's just to say that the presets on here don't showcase what this thing can do very well. They're all very shrill or like too low sounding or whatever. They're too much in one direction or the other. Whereas this one seems to be just dozens and dozens of patches that are within the sweet spot of the synthesizer. They just sound fantastic. Another one that I would compare to it is the Novation Peak. This is another synthesizer that comes with really good patches, and it is also extremely versatile. It's a little bit different. This one is fully digital, whereas this one is a digital analog hybrid. But I would say, as for like value for money, I would say that the Peak is very similar to the ASM Hydrasynth in the sense that it's very good value for money. So yeah, anyway, that pretty much wraps up my video review. Let me just turn the camera around here. That wraps it up for my video review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, I hope you can leave them down in the comment section down below. I hope you guys can appreciate what kind of a video review this is. Please don't be angry with me in the comments about not being professional enough and going into enough deep features or not understanding synthesizers enough. I admittedly don't understand the deeper depths of synthesis. So that's why this is called a totally amateur review, because this is from the perspective of somebody who maybe doesn't fully understand synthesizers but loves them, or somebody who just wants to get it kind of like a toy. I mean, for me, synthesizers are my hobby. They're not something that I'm totally trained in and know everything about. So that's the value of this review. I hope it's valuable for somebody. And I look forward to reading your comments later. And until the next time I make a video review, I hope you guys stay safe during this pandemic season, and I will see you guys next time. This is Caticus, out.